Well, hey everyone, it's Nate here. Welcome to day 3 of our Live in the Mojave Desert week, where we're talking to the bands that were part of this incredible series. Now, just to explain, at the height of the pandemic in 2020, a series of 5 concerts took place in the Mojave Desert, put on by some amazing bands. These concerts had no attendance, but they had an incredible light show and were captured by a movie crew and streamed to thousands of people who were sitting on their couches around the world, and to great appreciation for those of us who were absolutely jonesing to see a live show. Well, those amazing shows are now being made available on vinyl and Blu-ray video. Go to liveinthemojavedesert.com or Heavy Psych Sounds to check them out. Order the killer vinyl variants, get the Blu-rays, and you can recreate the whole pandemic in your very own front room. Now, today's episode, we are speaking with Armand Lance of the band Spirit Mother, who were added to the Mojave concert series at the very last minute and had to assemble, drive all the way down the west coast of the United States, and arrive in the desert with very little time to spare. He tells the whole story today, but man, did they have a great set. So make sure you check out Spirit Mother at spiritmotherofficial.com or spiritmother.bandcamp.com. And of course, grab the Live in the Mojave Desert LP at liveinthemojavedesert.com or Heavy Psych Sounds. And just for our astoundingly generous patrons at patreon.com/vinylguide, we've not only uploaded all these episodes early, but we've also added an additional episode just for you, a secret episode that is only available to patrons at patreon.com/vinylguide. If you're not already part of that community, that's okay. You can head up there now, patreon.com/vinylguide, sign up, help support this show, help keep this show going, and enjoy all the extras we put up there. All right, everyone, let's jump into the virtual van and drive back out to the Mojave Desert and have a conversation with Armand Lance of the band Spirit Mother. So this week on the Vinyl Guide, we are talking to Armand Lance of the band Spirit Mother, a heavy psych band based out of Long Beach, California. And we're going to be talking about all sorts of things alongside the new Live in the Mojave Desert series, which Spirit Mother just participated in and have a great new release available on Heavy Psych Records. How are you today, Armand?
Thanks for having me. Doing well.
So let me ask you, Armand, before we start talking about the Live in the Mojave Desert series, how has the pandemic been for you guys? Like, what was the plans for 2020 that got interrupted?
Well, we unknowingly decided to release our debut studio album February 29th, I think. It was a leap year.
This is Cadets, yeah?
This is Cadets, yeah. Yeah. So we did our record release then, and we had our tour plans, and it just got shut down 2 weeks later. And yeah, I mean, that was a huge bummer at the time. And then when this pandemic hit, we kind of all spread out for a little bit. And I ended up on this ranch out in the Pacific Northwest in Oregon. Mm-hmm. And I ended up writing our next record there. And then when we got the call to do the Mojave Desert thing, I mean, we all came back together and did the show. And looking back on the year, it's like, damn, we have a new record and we just released a live record. So pretty happy with how the year went.
It started out a bit ambivalent, but you made lemonade out of lemons. So, well, let's go back a little ways here. Tell me the story of Spirit Mother. How did Spirit Mother come together?
It was one step at a time, this Spirit Mother story. It started with our violinist, Sarah, and I kind of piecing together the idea of a band and what we would do. I met her, before the band started, obviously, and I knew she played violin, and I walked in and she was jamming with a drummer. And it was just unlike any violin sound I've ever heard. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh shit, we need to make some music, So we kind of we always formed this band Spirit Mother around the idea of, doing this like rock and roll with a violin. and what the violin would do. We didn't want it to sound too much like a guitar, so we really focused on like atmosphere, and we kind of built our sound around that. And we started playing, and slowly but surely our lineup started forming up. And we got Sean and Landon in the band with us, and from there we started really going.
And were you raised in Southern California?
Yeah, I was.
Okay. All right. I think we have a common friend, Parker, over at Cream Tangerine.
Oh wow! Yeah, I know Parker.
He's a cool. He's a cool dude. And what a fantastic record shop. So I'm assuming by your connections with Cream Tangerine Records, you enjoy the flipping through vinyl like the rest of us. Yeah.
Oh yeah, of course.
Were records a big part of your life growing up?
I would say music was. Records came when I was in my late teens for me. My parents didn't do vinyl. I mean, just what it was.
Right.
But it became a huge thing because, all the musicians I was playing with, we were all into vinyl. We all would use vinyls and go to the store together and kind of shape what we wanted to do, Gave us the first tangible way to like look at how records are made. The image with the sound is a lot, at least to me.
What were some of those early records that made such an impression on you?
The first record I ever bought was Goat's Head Soup, a Rolling Stones record. And that, I don't know, that just kind of opened the doors completely to me. I listened to a lot of blues records. Another one that really opened my eyes was, oh my gosh, Charlie Dixon, Give Me the Blues.
Okay.
He wrote all the blues standards that, you hear like Led Zeppelin playing and all that stuff. And it was kind of like, I heard Led Zeppelin first, and I just kind of sourced the songs back and found the blues artists that they came from and stuff like that. And those blues records are huge for me.
What made you pick up a copy of Goat's Head Soup?
I didn't know what I was looking for when I walked in. I didn't have any idea. I had just got a record player, and I was like, okay, here we go, And I recognized the face on the cover.
Yeah.
And it was $4.
Okay.
I was like, all right, let's start here.
That's a great start. You got lucky, because that same attitude could also have gotten you a Barry Manilow or something like that.
Yeah. Well, luckily for me, I wasn't raised on Barry Manilow.
So what was the music that was around your house?
Let's see. My mom was very, very into Led Zeppelin, Rolling Stones, and ZZ Top specifically. So I remember listening to that a ton. She bought cassette tapes that we had in the car. And that's when the car is still where I listen to a lot of music. It just always was, and always has been. I started listening to music with my mom driving wherever she was going. I was a little kid with those cassette tapes in her car. So yeah, and my dad was a disco guy back in the 70s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So did your parents stay together? Or did you have two separate households?
I stayed together.
So he had disco in the car. She had Led Zeppelin. How did they work that out?
Whoever was driving picked the tunes.
Okay. And at what point did you get to pick the tunes? Because you were riding in it.
Right. Well, we're dating back to when I was a little kid. I think I got to choose by the time CDs were in most cars. And I gravitated towards Nirvana and Alice in Chains as a young kid. And that's what I was always playing.
And did your parents welcome that? Were they horrified by it? What was their reaction?
At first, no, they didn't like it. But then my mom took a listen to, it was In Utero specifically. And, you look at the back cover and there's songs like Rape Me on it and stuff. So they looked at it and were like, what the hell is this? And then my mom listened to it just to know what I was into, and she loved the record. So then it became okay.
And your dad put down the disco briefly to enjoy it as well, or?
Oh yeah. I mean, he loved rock and roll too, but he was always he's always a disco guy.
Okay. So you kind of, I guess that's an amalgamation of 70s rock and the disco sensibilities. I can see where you became a combination of it all. When did it occur to you that you were not only going to be listening to music, but playing it as well?
Always playing came first.
Okay.
Since I've been playing some sort of instrument since I was 4 years old, starting with classical instruments. Like I started playing violin, but I was no good at it. I played piano, and then I'll give credit to my mom. When I was a little kid, I did not want to play music at all. I had zero desire. And my mom said, you can quit the instrument, but you have to pick something else. So I bounced around for a while, and I landed on drums. And I was a drummer for years, and I was really into playing drums with other musicians, like jamming. Mm-hmm. I never practiced or anything. Then a buddy left his guitar one day at my house, and then I picked that up and couldn't set it down. And I self-taught myself for the first few years, and then took some lessons down the line.
So what was this, around maybe, what were you, 12, 13, something like that?
Yeah, I think something like that, yeah.
Okay. It's interesting you started with the violin.
I know.
Which, for people who aren't familiar with Spirit Mothers, having a violin in the band is quite unique, and you guys use it very well. But also violin, as I understand, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's probably the hardest instrument to learn.
Oh yeah, you make some I never got past, dying cat sound
right
out of it. So, from experience, it's pretty hard to do that.
I think violin's probably the only instrument that neighbors fear worse than a drum set. Because you have those 3 or 4 years of dying cat sounds before you finally are able to hold a clear note. Would that be fair?
Yeah, I would say so. You got to pay your dues.
And so does everyone around you.
Yeah, it's a group. Everybody's in it together.
What attracted you to the violin?
No idea. Just arbitrary choice as a little kid.
Okay.
Arbitrary impulsive choice. Said I had to play music. So I was like,
violin? Okay. Wouldn't have been the first thing that sprang to my 4-year-old mind. Any reason why it sprang to yours?
No, probably just being put on the spot.
Okay. All right. You didn't just listen to Charlie Daniels' Devil Went Down to Georgia in the car.
That would be a greater narrative.
So you start playing guitar, you self-teach, and then you start getting some lessons. What was in your mind, what was the sort of music you wanted to play? Who were the artists that you wanted to emulate?
At that time, I was really into blues guitar, and because I wanted to know how to improvise. And there's obviously a lot of styles of music where improvisation is used, but I landed on blues, probably, from my mom. Mm-hmm. And I really liked that, and I really liked learning in that direction because it taught you to use your ears first, and it was like, here are the notes of the quote unquote blues scale. But really it's as long as you mean what you're doing, it's kind of anyone's game. It's kind of a blank slate. You can do whatever you want. At least that's how I feel.
Now, and again, in your early teens, you're discovering this. I'll estimate probably 14, 15.
Yeah.
To have the desire to want to improvise, to me, that is such a mature thought. Normally around those ages, people are looking to emulate artists and to try to just learn how to play a song they hear on the radio, trying to copy before forging their own path and creating their own music. But you knew early on that creating was the ultimate goal.
Yeah, I always wanted to make stuff. And that was my way of emulating the people that I looked up to, mm-hmm. Because they wrote songs. I figured out first and foremost, I wanted to be able to be good at guitar. I wanted to play like blues solos and stuff like that, be able to improvise. But I was always gravitated to songwriting. Mm-hmm. That's kind of what what music was for me.
Yeah, because you recognize that what you bring to music is really the unique bit. These are really just 12 different notes that everyone else is scrambling up in different orders. But
yeah, exactly.
But when you hear, I'll say, Eric Clapton, you know that it's him, his unique style of playing and his perspective, his ability to improvise that really makes his music special when compared to someone else. Now, was that taught to you or was that instinctive somehow?
I guess instinctive. No one in my family was writing any music. My mom was good at piano, but she liked to play, sheet music and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Did you learn to read music as well?
I was musically illiterate. Maybe that's why I wanted to use my ears so bad. Because I could not read music for shit.
Mm-hmm. Can you now?
I can now. Yeah.
Okay.
It's been a while, but I was able to start reading music, and for a brief time I was doing classical music.
Okay. Was it clear that your path was always going to be that of a musician, or did you have any other plans at any different point?
I was never really good at anything else.
Mm-hmm.
As I was growing up, I could do sports. I mean, I played some sports as a kid, but really it all just got dissolved into guitar. That's all I did.
When did you start playing gigs?
About end of high school.
Mm-hmm.
End of high school. Started playing gigs.
Was that in the form of Spirit Mother or a different band?
No. Spirit Mother started in my 20s. So yeah, it was just kind of paying dues and figuring out how to do it for quite a while.
So you're lucky to be, born and raised in Southern California, which is kind of the mecca of music and opportunity. A lot of people have to just move there to even have those sort of opportunities. So what were the sort of shows, the live shows that you were starting to play? Was it house parties? Were they clubs? What did that look like?
We said yes to, everything we could. So it was all the above. It was house parties in some random town in California. We were in Southern California, but we used to go to the Bay a lot just to play. For whatever reason, we got a lot of opportunities there.
So you drive up to the Bay Area to do gigs?
Yeah, we would do that, and we would just play wherever we could find and wherever we could do it.
And which band was this?
I would say this attitude has gone with me every band I've ever been in.
Okay, so you had multiple bands that you were touring with, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't call it. I would call it learning.
Mm-hmm.
Spirit Mother. When we got to Spirit Mother, I kept that same attitude. Yeah, we say yes to opportunities. I don't care where it is. If it's something I think is good, we're going to do it. And that's honestly how the Live in the Mojave Desert thing happened, because we got the call for that. I was 600 miles away, and I had 48 hours to get my band and myself there to record.
48 hours.
48 hours to accept and be there and do it.
Wow. So up to that point, when was the last time that Spirit Mother had been together and rehearsed even?
We were actually together just a few weeks before. We were going to play in San Francisco. So we had all met up and rehearsed. And that show fell through. I guess it was a permitting thing. We were in San Francisco. We had a radio show the night before to promote it, but then the show got ripped out from under us. But the radio show was still on, so now we had to go on the radio and not promote our show.
So there's been some humbling moments in 2020, I think is what you're saying, eh?
Totally.
So
they pay off.
Yeah, no, I would imagine. So you guys released Cadets, like you say, in February, and you have some vinyl copies on Polymer Records, which I would suspect is a private label. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. And you had 200 printed up. 300 printed. Okay. What was going to happen with those records? Were those going to be records that you sold at gigs? What was the plan for those 300 records?
Move them however we could. We felt lucky to have 300. You know? let alone anything else. I mean, we're an independent band and we were just, flying off whatever we could. And we got the opportunity to make 300 records. So we're like, hell yeah, and we were just slinging them any which way. We sold the most at shows, obviously.
Right.
But the plan was always, centric on selling records on the road because we were the best at that.
Mm-hmm. Up to this point, like how often would you play live? A couple times a week, a couple times a month?
It depends. It depended on, where the shows were or if, like, for example, our record release show, that was the only show we played that month.
Mm-hmm.
We wanted to concentrate on it. But on average, I'd say we were gigging up to 3, 4, 5 times a month.
Okay. And so you released this album just prior to the pandemic. That starts to obviously impact any plans you have for promoting it or for playing live shows and everything.
Ruined it. Ruined our plans for promoting it.
And you decide, fuck it, I'm going to go write some material. I'm going up to Pacific Northwest and we're going to wait this one out. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's kind of funny. The opportunity to be there kind of presented itself and I just didn't say no.
Mm-hmm.
Because I had nothing else to do. And it seemed like a good idea. And I'm really happy that I did. I got to be in a new place and have nothing to do but concentrate on putting together a record.
Was it like a family member? Was it a benefactor? Like what lured you up there? What was the specifics?
When everything got shut down, Sarah, her family is in Oregon. So we went to go visit. And remember, her family owned this old old rundown 100-year-old ranch house in the middle of nowhere. We stayed in it for 3 nights with every intention to return back to Long Beach after. And in 3 nights, I just couldn't stop writing music. And we loved the space up there. We loved what that area was. And we're like, what do we got waiting for us in Southern California,
Mm-hmm.
So we just moved up and then I kept writing.
I firmly believe that there are parts of this planet that just align with people better than others. Yeah. Like I used to live in the Bay Area and that was a fine place to be, but it was only when I moved to Australia that I felt like there was this energy that wasn't with me anyplace else. So that's what I decided to stay. So, I totally believe the fact that, you went somewhere, you all of a sudden you're drinking from this fountain of inspiration. Why would you want to leave?
Exactly. And if there's any one time to make an impulsive decision, it was the year 2020.
Yeah. Why not? Throw it on the pile. So you get the call. Ryan, I'm assuming, gives you a call.
We'll be back after these messages.
Hey everyone, I gotta tell you about the Groove Washer, a record cleaner I use every day, and I've used it for years with nothing but excellent results. Not all record cleaners are equal, and not all of them are proved safely tested long-term for record storage. I mean, God forbid you get one of those cheap no-name brand record cleaners only to find out 5 years later that it slowly ruined your vinyl collection. Get a Groove Washer, ask for it by name at your local record shop, or go to groovewasher.com and use discount code VinylGuide10 at checkout. That's the Groove Washer record cleaner, groovewasher.com, promo code VinylGuide10. Now we're also brought to you today by AudiofileUSA.com, the used record shop that only sells excellent and near mint vinyl records. With over 42,000 titles in stock, AudiofileUSA.com ships anywhere in the world. No need to guess the condition of anything at AudiofileUSA.com. All the records look pretty goddamn new and gorgeous, even if they have sat in storage for a few decades. Head up there now, AudiofileUSA.com, search by genre, label, artist, dig deep and find the deals. Get a box of goodies today from AudiofileUSA.com, home of the Holy Grails.
Now we return to the program, already in progress.
No limits. So you get the call. Ryan, I'm assuming, gives you a call.
Actually, first it was Lance, who does the lights, the Mad Alchemy Liquid Light Show.
Okay, yeah.
So Lance Lance and I had been talking about doing stuff together. Actually, the prior show in San Francisco that got canceled, it was also with Lance. And we were both on that radio show trying to figure out what else to talk about. And so I got the call from him, and he doesn't like to admit it went this way, but it went kind of like this. He calls me and he said, "Hey, I think I have something for you, but you just got to do it, man. You just got to say yes, and you got to be there."
Mm-hmm.
And before I even knew what it was, so I said, yes.
Yeah.
And, then he told me that there was a last minute change up, and the Mojave Desert series was needing another band, and Lance showed them Spirit Mother, and I showed Ryan Spirit Mother, and that I was going to receive a call from Ryan in about 5 minutes. So stop everything you're doing and figure it out.
So Ryan calls you, and you'd already agreed. So yes. It wasn't if, it was how.
It was how. So I agreed to the show, called Ryan. Super great, down to earth dude, kind of broke down the whole thing and said, "Hell yeah, dude, we'll be there." And then after I did that, I blew the conch shell, so to speak, and
Spirit Mother, assemble.
Everybody. Yeah, exactly. I wrangled everybody back up. We did, it was 16 hours straight of driving to pick everyone up and be there.
Jeez. And was there ever any doubt from anyone to participate? Or was it?
No. I'm lucky. Everybody in the band, we're not doing this as a hobby.
They prioritize it. They take it seriously as you do.
Yeah.
Okay. So you hear about this gig. It's the middle of the desert. Very different than just about any other gig that you've ever played and probably will play. Have you played the desert at all before?
Yeah. Being out in Long Beach, it's only an hour or two to get to the desert. So we had played out in Joshua Tree and Death. Well, actually, we never played Death Valley, and that's where the Mojave is. So actually, near that.
Okay, so you played desert shows before, so it wasn't going to be a completely unfamiliar environment.
Never to that caliber. I've never been put into, okay, you're going to play live in the desert, and it's going to be recorded, and it's going to be put out as an album.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, shit. So we got to be on it.
Yeah. And it's also like a movie set because there's a film crew there. There's a light crew there. The pressure's on.
Full drones flying in the air.
Yeah.
Or they say action, you hear the drones fly up and you hear that. Really great.
How do you prepare for something like that?
I don't think you can. I think you just.
But you did. You did.
I wouldn't say we prepared. we had very little time to be there or get there, let alone kind of roll with it. Let the night take you.
But it's a very unique situation. Yours was filmed during the day. Is it right?
Night.
You had a night shot. Okay. Right. So what were the issues that you had to deal with? Perhaps some of the unexpected ones from this that you didn't quite anticipate until you got there?
Well, okay. The one thing I personally did not anticipate when I got there was that, because I did all the driving. Mm-hmm. So I picked everyone up. I did the 16 hours straight. We stayed in a shitty hotel. It was a terrible night's sleep. Get there and we get ready to do it. And my voice was hoarse. And I was like, you got to be kidding me. Mm-hmm. And so I actually, before we went on, I realized my voice was hoarse. So I went over to the food and I slammed as much greasy food into my face as I could in about 2 minutes. Mm-hmm. And
lubricated
my own lubricated the vocal cords. They're a little dry out there in the desert. And my own personal trick is, I don't know why, and it may not be for everyone, but wine helps my voice. Mm-hmm. So it was the greasiest tacos I could find and some wine. And then we went up and did it.
That's a very unique program you have there. So the unanticipated events were the condition of your voice. How about the sand or anything like that? Did any of that cause any problems with the set?
We're in the desert playing in the sand. There's going to be sand. It's going to be everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
It's just something you deal with. I don't know. It didn't affect us too much. I mean, we were just so concentrated on like delivering the best that we could on a moment's notice that, and also what was funny is, I like to, and I think this is true of the whole band. What helps us get in the moment is just the entire, landscape, the entire experience going on. And obviously with a regular show, the crowd plays a huge role.
Mm-hmm.
And without it, I think we relied on just the natural side of the experience, I guess.
Were you able to be in the moment?
We were. We lucked out, we started really locking in. I would say about a couple songs in, we were past the nerves.
Okay. And after the show, did you get to hang around and see any of the other bands, or was it back to the hotel, back to where you needed to go?
We were the last one that day. So they were filmed on different days. Because obviously with a production that big, you got to concentrate. You got to concentrate one at a time pretty much. Although for that day, because it was the last minute change up, we were the second of two bands in the same day.
Okay.
So it may have been even a little bit more cramped.
You pulled the late shift. And you were the last band of the entire series, is that right?
No, we were number 3. We're volume 3.
Oh, okay. All right. And when does the album come out for Spirit Mother? That's May or June?
I think it's June. If I remember correctly, it's June 11th.
All right. So you're pretty pleased right off the bat with the set that you did there in the desert. Were you able to hear very well? Was the monitoring system working?
Hell yeah. Yeah. Shit, that was like the highest quality production I think we've ever been a part of.
Mm-hmm.
We could hear ourselves. We could, I don't know. There's goddamn drones flying above our heads. We had high watt amps behind us, and that was kind of interesting too, because we were told high watt amps were going to be there, and this was the first time that we didn't bring our own stuff.
Okay.
So we also, we kind of threw ourselves just into the thick of it, because we all have our own way we dial in our amps and stuff like that, and we didn't know really what to expect out of new ones.
Oh, okay. So everything was pretty much new.
Everything. We just dove headfirst into the whole thing.
And once you heard the recordings, what was your reaction? You've heard the test pressings, you've been able to play them. What was your reaction to that?
Thank God.
Yeah?
It's yeah.
Were you a little nervous up to that point? Like, oh, were they able to capture it right? I know you have to have confidence in people, but until you finally hear it, were you anticipating a potentially different result?
Well, being there, we knew that they were going to capture exactly what happened. We were just like, please say we did a good job that night,
Yeah.
And we were happy. The record sounds great. We're all really proud of it.
Well, yeah. Not only the record, but the videos look great. Again, it was a fantastic production.
It really was.
It was driven by necessity of, this horrible pandemic, but there are some bright spots about it. There are some artistic moments that have been a direct result as to the constraints that coronavirus has put on people and on artists, on musicians.
Totally. It's like a whole new way. Well, it's a whole new way, and not at the same time. Because I don't even really consider that like just one of those live stream COVID concerts. I think that was something completely.
Yeah.
That could have happened. That could have happened before COVID.
Yeah.
A concert film, just really great quality and well done and executed and all that. That didn't have to happen with a pandemic, but I'm glad it did.
So what are the plans for Spirit Mother from this point?
We are looking to hit the road as signs are starting to point in that direction.
Mm-hmm.
So we will be touring.
You have some gigs lined up already?
We are starting to, yeah. And we're going to be doing, I think we're going to be doing some touring with the Mad Alchemist Liquid Light show, Lance, who was responsible for, getting us on there in the first place. And then we kind of just decided we like working with each other and be doing some shows on the road. We liked the way the Mojave Desert looked with the lights and the music, so decided to take it out.
Sounds like a great partnership. Sounds like you're also exiting out of the pandemic with a lot more music. Any plans to record more?
Yeah. Plans are being made. We're trying to figure out when and how, but new record's coming.
Okay. All right. We will watch this space. I also noticed you guys had a split single jumping around here, but that's unfortunately sold out now.
Yeah. Vinyl is sold out.
How many of those were pressed?
I think 1,000, but split between the two bands. So we had 500 and so did they.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, did that come before Cadets or after?
Came before. We were just still just a gigging band. We had never gone on tour. We had never even played a festival or anything like that. We were just gigging in LA and out there you hear a lot. You get told a lot of things. So we play a set and this guy who ended up becoming a good friend, his name's Nick, he comes up, he's like, "Hey, starting a label and I liked you guys' set, I like both you guys' set. I think let's make a vinyl." And I said, "Yeah, sure." And he asked for a new song and I gave him the recording of our very first song because I did not think he was serious. And that song is Heathens. And he was serious. So we're like, all right, we're playing this song.
So you didn't take him that serious and you gave him essentially an outtake.
Well, the funny thing about Heathens is that song kind of started the band.
Okay.
Before Spirit Mother was a band, someone approached me and said, and I have no idea how this would happen. I have no way to make this happen. Somebody approached me and said, "Hey, I just moved here. I'm trying to produce records. I'm doing like promotional, like free 1 day of tracking. Do you have a band?" I said, "Yeah, I do."
You didn't.
No, I didn't. I didn't have a song. So not only did I not have a band or a song, I also only had 1 day to record the whole thing. Otherwise, I had to pay for it, and I did not have any money to do that. So wrote the song, wrangled a drummer, and between he and I, we did it in a day. He was probably kind of bummed that it didn't take more than a day.
So it's so going back to your philosophy of always saying yes and then figuring out how to do it. That seems to be working really well for you.
Hasn't steered me wrong yet.
Very cool. I love your attitude. I'm going to start doing that. I'm just going to start saying yes to everything. And my wife is going to be very pleased to hear that. But let me make sure everyone knows about Spirit Mother. I believe they can go to spiritmotherofficial.com and be able to see any shows, any news of the band, there's a bit of merch up there as well. And also liveinthemojavedesert.com. Make sure you pick up the Spirit Mother set on vinyl. I believe there's a video disc available, Blu-ray maybe. There may even be some test pressing, so get up there really quick and snap these up. Of course, follow Spirit Mother on social media, be able to find out when they're coming to your part of the world. Hopefully that will be soon as this pandemic starts to sunset, hopefully. And Armand, best of luck to you going forward, man.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me, man. This was fun.
All right, thank you so much, Armand, for coming on the show. And again, everyone, check out spiritmotherofficial.com or spiritmother.bandcamp.com. Let's support these guys and keep them going. And speaking of keep them going, head over to our Patreon site, patreon.com/vinylguide. I'm always uploading extras up there, extended interviews, secret episodes, and more. And this week, I'm not about to disappoint. Not only have we uploaded all these episodes early from our Live in the Mojave Desert week, but I've also added an extra in there, a secret episode that's just for patrons of the Vinyl Guide podcast. Head up there, patreon.com/vinylguide, and thanks in advance for your support. So we've just crossed the halfway mark of the Live in the Mojave Desert week. There's more to come. Absolutely. Make sure to subscribe to the Vinyl Guide podcast and you will know exactly the moment a new episode is available, and it's about to get even more exciting. All right, we'll see you on the next episode. Thanks, everyone. Cheers.